in conversation with author Donna L. Vasicek. Donald L. Vasicek documentary film The Sand Creek Massacre won Best Film at three film festivals. It was recently catalogued into Smithsonian Institute Libraries Film Media Group. The largest educational video distributor in the world is distributing the film. Dawn wrote and published the paranormal novel The Eyes of Death. The Eyes of Death has also been made into a Zoom movie. Dawn also has written, ghostwritten, and published over 500 books, short stories, and articles, including his Fox novel, The Real Ghost, which won the Waldorf Best Book Publishing Award and has been published by Waldorf Publishing. And on today's episode of our interview, it's my utmost pleasure and joy to have on the show today Donald L. Vasicek. Welcome on the show, Donald.
Thank you, Peter. Nice to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you on the show today. I'm excited to have you on.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Donna, could you tell us about your book, The Eyes of Death? How does this book come about? What inspired you to write The Eyes of Death?
A movie came out, I think 1999, something like that, titled The Sixth Sense. It starred Bruce Willis, and it was about a boy who, talked with dead people after they died.
Wow.
And that inspired me to write The Eyes of Death from the standpoint that, in this case, it's a teen girl who has a head injury, obtains a head, and after that, she starts seeing people that are going to die, and she tries to save them from dying.
Wow.
And it's a paranormal story, but it does it poses the question, how powerful is paranormal? Is there such a thing as paranormal? And what is paranormal about? So that's kind of what The Eyes of Death is about.
Wow. That's quite awesome to know, really. I love the sound of it. And now I also see that you have another book titled The Real Ghost, which won the Waldorf Best Book Publishing Award. I'd love to say congratulations on that. That's very great news. Now,
Thank
for
you.
readers, yeah, you're welcome. Now, for readers who haven't read the book yet, and of course, without giving much information away, could we have a sneak of what we'd expect picking up The Real Ghost?
The Real Ghost is a sort of a young adult story about a boy who lives in a small town, and in order to gain attention, he tells lies.
Wow.
Until he sees the baseball hero Babe Ruth, and then he tells the town that he saw Babe Ruth. Nobody believes him, so he sets out to prove that he saw Babe Ruth. And again, this flirts with paranormal, but the boy is what you learn from the story is that can I say this? The boy is telling the truth, and it's hard for everybody in the small town to believe him until a cataclysmic event takes place that proves he was right. And it's actually it's sort of silly in some places. It's comedy in some places. In some places, there's suspense, thrills. It covers a whole area of genre, but it's very fun reading. It's laugh out loud stuff.
It's awesome, really. I love the sound of it. And now I'd love you to show a copy of it to the camera if you have samples there with you, just so we can see what it looks like.
The Real Ghost?
Yeah. Wow, beautiful cover it is. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very artist made that cover.
Beautiful. I love everything in there. It's really amazing. And even the cloud cover down there. Now, Donald, I've always been fascinated about how authors, especially novelists like yourself, craft long sentences and brings works together in a way that it eventually makes a great novel. This always leave me thinking about how exactly they got their ideas and inspiration. Now, as far as writing is concerned, I would also love to ask you, how do you get your inspiration and ideas? Where did they come from?
I experienced a personal tragedy many years ago,
Wow.
and it's reflected in all of my writing. Everything I write about is driven from that personal tragedy. And
Wow.
so that's, I don't know if you call that inspiration or what it is called, but based on the tragedy, it's like I went to bed one night,
Mm.
got a day, and I was writing poems, writing many poems, and I become widely published with poems, and then I evolved from there to novels and
Mm.
non and even filmmaking. But all of my work, all of my writings, my films, they all reflect that personal tragedy.
Wow.
And uh, as I'm writing, I mean, it's like the personal tragedy is very emotional, and I really believe this to be true based on my writing experience. In
Mm.
order in order to write effectively, you have to have passion for what you're writing.
Absolutely. That's true.
Very sure, and that passion should drive you when you're writing,
Yeah.
and it should make it should make your characters three-dimensional and your story three-dimensional.
Absolutely. Wow, that's so awesome to know, really. I love the fact that you mentioned this. Sounds very interesting to me. Now, Donald, I'm also curious to know if you experienced any challenges in the process of writing your both books. If there's any, could you share with us what challenge it is and how you ultimately overcame it? Also, how do you handle criticism as a writer?
Second part of your question, with respect to criticism,
Yeah.
and there's learned this early on when I first started writing. I will listen to criticism. I will I will inspect it. I will uh, dissect it, and I may take one little thing out of that criticism that will
Mm,
be helpful in writing. The rest of it
wow.
I will discard. But the fine point of it is nobody goes in the trenches with me and
Mm,
writes and
mm,
sweats and bleeds and cries and laughs
mm,
and works to write even sometimes a sentence.
wow.
So I'm not that happy about critics uh, because they aren't in the trenches with me.
Mm,
So I'm very careful about what they say about my work.
wow. Wow. I so much love your take on criticism. Sounds very educative to me. Thank you for sharing. And now, apart from the real ghost and the eyes of death, do you have any other works you've authored or maybe currently working on?
Yes, there is. I made a documentary film titled "The Sand Creek Massacre," and it's about the indigenous uh, massacre that happened to the indigenous people in America.
Mm,
And the experiences I had making the film, I'm turning into a book because, and I'm working on that book now. I'm writing that book now. It's
wow.
it's informational, it's educational, and
Mm,
what I'm very, I'm very, very, very unhappy about racism and all that encompasses. And so in this
mm,
book, it will teach readers more about how indigenous people in this country think, how they act and react, how they feel, who they are as human beings.
mm,
And that's that. I write about the experiences I had while making the film, experiences I had with the indigenous people, the Cheyenne and
mm,
Arapaho tribe. and it was quite an experience.
Wow.
Quite, and I am, and
Wow.
I learned a lot, and my life was threatened a few times until
Mm.
I could get through and communicate. I had to learn how to communicate. One thing, without going on and on about this, is that one thing people in this country do not understand. When I say this country, America, many
Yeah.
people don't. They do not understand the indigenous people's culture. They do
Mm.
not understand. If they did, they would treat indigenous people differently than they
Mm.
do. So that's the
Wow.
book, what people learn about that.
Wow. That's quite awesome to know. That's very amazing. And I love the start and the look to these books and how they come up. Sounds very informative to me. So thank you for sharing. Amazing.
You're welcome. Thank you, Peter.
Yeah. Now, is there
Okay.
anything that you would love to share with the viewers about your books that we did not mention in this interview and you'd love the viewers to know?
Um, both both novels are very entertaining novels. They're very easy to read, and you can sit down and read them in one night. They're short, they're to the point, they're comprehensive in as far as character description and
Well,
story. But I think if anybody would want to read either book or both books,
mm,
they have to put on their thinking cap,
wow,
because it when they read the books, it causes them to think, and
mm,
that's why I wrote the books the way I wrote them. To
wow,
think, you need to use your brain to understand what's going on here and to
mm,
enjoy reading it.
beautiful. Yeah, that's
Thank you.
awesome. That's really wholesome. Now, Donald, as a published author, what sort of advice do you have for other writers who are still struggling with publishing a book like yours? What would you advise people in this category?
I highly recommend anyone who is writing or who is thinking about writing
Yeah.
is always back to what is inside of their heart and inside of their brain for
Mm,
writing. They need to, it's defined as passion.
mm,
Why did you get the idea to write this? Writing is hard work. You put yourself through hell and back to get the
mm,
word paper. It's not an easy thing, but it's also,
absolutely.
it can be very enjoyable. But the
Yeah.
fine point, if you identify your passion for what you're writing,
Yeah.
it becomes the main theme of your story,
Absolutely.
whether it's about hate, love, uh, whatever
Yeah.
matter might be.
Yeah.
Look at
Wow.
yourself, look in your brain and look in your heart to figure out why did I get this idea? Why do I
Mm,
want to write about this?
absolutely. Wow.
Make it easier too.
Yeah, that's very awesome. That's very awesome. Thank you so much for your advice. And I'm hopeful that
Sure.
viewers, including myself, would love to utilize it. Now, Donald, in case we have some viewers who are currently watching this interview, I would love to get a copy of your book. On what platform is it available on for purchase?
Go to Amazon and go to books in Amazon, type in the title of the book, and it'll take them to a page where they can purchase the book, or
Mm.
they can read it on Kindle.
That's
Okay.
great. And I left a link in the description part of this interview where interested viewers can get a copy of Donald Vasicek books directly on Amazon and another platform. So thank you so much, Donald, for accepting the invitation to be featured on P English Literature. It's awesome having this conversation with you.
Thank you very much, Peter. I enjoyed talking with you, and thank you for your interest in my work.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. The pleasure is mine. I appreciate that too.